That's an awesome question. I think first at the genesis of all of this, we need to understand what's the basic difference between genders, right? If you talk about a man in technology versus a woman or a lady in technology, what are the differences? Both of them bring core competencies of logic into the arena, which is, I think, the prime talent required for technology. However, there are certain things in which a man is better at, or certain things a woman is better at. If we're talking about attention to detail, we're talking about empathy, you're talking about understanding how the organization at large needs to develop something from a customer perspective, from a particular persona perspective. I think a woman is really, really good at that. If you're talking about risk potential, a man is much more able to take higher risks than a woman. In a fintech kind of a scenario where you have to be very, very particular about the details that you're focusing on, risk appetite of financial institutions is low, and because there is so much competition in the market space about what are the features that each fintech is providing to the other, I think a woman has a very natural play in the industry. And that's something that all fintech should think about. I'll give you a very simple example. In India, all of us use the Paytm app. At least most people do, right? Now, the amount of features that get into the Paytm app versus a phone pay app versus what Google Pay gives versus a Paytm UPI functionality, there is a lot of difference. Which app is better for what, and what should therefore be the product roadmap, I think is something that is so easily and well defined from a woman perspective, because she will bring to the table what she needs in her daily life, and therefore validating that against the persona of the women using those apps is that much more important. I don't believe that there is any difference in the challenges for women in any industry, right? So the very simple answer to the question is no. I think there are two kinds of challenges women face in a technology industry. If I have to just talk about it from a technology industry perspective, one is the societal challenges, right? The biases towards her, right? She needs to be the child bearer. She needs to be to the caregiver. She needs to take care of everything around her, right? And therefore, how can she step out and do something on her own? And the second is the biases that exist in a woman's own mind, right? And how does she handle that in terms of going out there and conquering the world? Bias is about, am I good enough, right? If a new job description comes into the marketplace, whether it's internal or external, a man will apply if he has 30 or 40% congruency to the strengths that are mentioned in that job description. A woman may not even apply if she has got 90% congruence. So how does one balance that out, and how does one ensure that women have it in them to be able to recognize those biases, both external and internal, and face that out? So the challenges are the same. It's just that industries and verticals have to start thinking about how they can help women more doing their work. I can easily count two, three areas here. One is product management, right? Product management needs a lot of empathy, a lot of understanding of a user persona. And that's where I believe a woman's role can be really, really leveraged, because uh, in most families, whether you're talking Indian or global, a woman plays a huge amount of roles in the expense management, in the way we save money, in the way we spend money. So that is one area where I believe a woman is really, really useful from a talent perspective. The second is we're moving into an era, or we've actually already moved into an era of personalization. All of us want personalized experiences from our apps, from the technology that we are using. And for personalization, you need design. You need, you need user experience. You need that kind of feel. And I believe from a pure wiring of a woman's brain, right? That's something that one should really be leveraging women on. Somebody like me, I'm a hardcore logic maths person. So uh, pick up women who are good in technology, who are good in logic, and they will definitely have a flair in technology. So I think I'll answer this question in two parts, right? When you talk about diversity, um, or maybe I'll take a step back, right? Diversity was a fashion word in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, right? Every organization was talking about diversity to an extent that women started feeling trapped by the fact that they were of a gender that was in minority, because everybody started making fun of it. Organizations moved ahead because they realized the business value. And then came the entire thing around inclusion, right? It's not just important to go out and hire, but it's also important to be included in conversations. So how do you really include women in conversations became the topic on tables, right? And very important, very relevant topic. I think we've moved steps further from there in terms of um, equity and equitability. And if I go back to really the focus of IWD this year, which is embrace equity, we're talking about exactly that. And what is equitability? Equitability is that if I have four resources in front of me and I have four things to give away, I give one to each one of them, or I distribute what I have to those four people, things based on their needs so that they can have an equal platform, right? So how do you move from equity to equitability is, I think, what we are now facing here. From a fintech perspective, right? From a pure fintech perspective, is no different from any other technology. But I think uh, fintechs have had the advantage of having more women leaders and therefore having more women role models. Therefore, it's a little bit more easier for us to embrace this entire thing around gender equity and gender equitability in our setups. We have to now go the next steps, right? Are we equally responsive to various kinds of diversity? So are we talking about veterans, for example? Are we talking about LGBTQI, all of them, right? And how can we include them? For example, I know a lot of not-for-profit organizations that are training transgender people to do ops roles. Are we going out and hiring them? With the longevity of our lives increasing, really, our retirement age not changing, but we still need to have people earning, right? So how do you create jobs that allow older people and younger people to work together? And the last bit is we're moving into an environment where the workplace definitions are changing. So how do you ensure that you have your own people, but you're also using the gig economy, and managing that diversity of the workforce is really, really key. And all of this, I believe, has immense opportunity in the fintech space. It's just waiting to be picked up and nourished and cultivated.